Good morning. Welcome to Coffee with the Pastor. Hope you're having a good Monday morning. I always kind of say, Monday, bring it on. And here we are. We are in the Gospel of Mark, chapter 14. This is the Passion Week passages. We've seen what Jesus did on Monday, Tuesday, talked about Wednesday, and then Thursday, and now we're into early Friday morning, probably after midnight, sometime early Friday morning. And let me remind you, I've told you this before, but let me remind you, Jerusalem is built on a mountain, and you have the Temple Mount, and right beside the Temple Mount, you have a valley, the Kidron Valley, and you go down here, and then it comes back up, and over here, you got like Jerusalem here, and then you've got over here, the Mount of Olives in the Garden of Gethsemane, where you could oversee that. Now, the one thing that's striking when you go to Israel and you stand up on there, which I've done many times. I've stood on the Mountain of Olives in the area where they think is the Garden of Gethsemane, is that at night it would be dark. And even if it were during the day, it would be easy to see anybody coming. So Jesus is seeing them coming to arrest him, and he knows what's going on. And let's read about the arrest. It begins in Mark 14, verse 43. Just as he was speaking, Judas, one of the 12, appeared. With him was a crowd armed with swords and clubs sent from the chief priests, the teachers of the law, and the elders. Now the betrayer had arranged a signal with them. The one I kiss is the man. Arrest him and lead him away under guard. Going at once to Jesus, Judas said, Rabbi, and kissed him. The men seized Jesus and arrested him. Then one of those standing near drew his sword and struck at the servant of the high priest, cutting off his ear. Am I leading a rebellion, said Jesus, that you've come out with swords and clubs to capture me? Every day I was with you, teaching in the temple courts, and you did not arrest me. But the scriptures must be fulfilled. Then everyone deserted him and fled. A young man wearing nothing but a linen garment was following Jesus. When they seized him, he fled naked, leaving his garment behind. So Judas is with the soldiers. He's with the, if you look at who all's coming, there was a crowd armed with swords and clubs. They were sent from the chief priests and teachers of the law and the elders. So they came to arrest Jesus and to bring him to the high priest. Judas was among them. And Judas betrayed Jesus with a kiss. And of course, Jesus told Judas, must you betray me with a kiss, a sign of friendship, a sign of love. And we know why. Jesus asked them, why did you arrest me at night? Why didn't you arrest me when I was in temple courts? It's because the people would have rebelled. They probably would not have allowed Jesus to have been arrested. Jesus was a very popular teacher. When he would teach in temple courts, there would be crowds, and they would be listening on every word. And nothing he had said, nothing he had done, certainly would have deserved him being arrested. He did nothing wrong. We're going to talk about the trials probably tomorrow. And truthfully, Jesus never broke a law. Didn't break any of the laws of the Old Testament. It could be proven. But he was arrested, and it was quite a thing. We know Peter had been sleeping, couldn't stay awake with Jesus. But then all of a sudden, he's ready to pull his sword. We know this from one of the Gospels of John. Pulls off his sword and cuts off the chief priest's servant. He's named later as Malchus. Jesus has to heal the ear. And he tells him, why do you have to come do that? And he knew. People would not have allowed him to have been arrested, and it would have caused quite a disturbance. So they had to come at night. And the reason they needed Judas is because Judas had to show them where he was. They didn't know where he was. He had to show them, and he pointed them out in the dark who he was, so they could arrest him. And then there's a really kind of weird verse here in verse 51 and 52. It says, a young man wearing nothing but a linen garment was following Jesus, and when they seized him, he fled naked, leaving his garment behind. In other words, they grabbed this young man, were going to arrest him, or was talking about him, and then he pulled out of him, and he was naked, and he ran off. Why would that be in the gospel? Probably the best explanation, about the only explanation I've been told, is that maybe Mark himself. He was there. And that would make sense. He would have been a young man, very much a teenager, maybe a young teenager around when that would have happened. And he was grabbed, and he ran off naked. It's kind of a funny scene, but I think Mark, I do think it was Mark. I think he's letting us know, hey, I was actually there. And because only somebody that would have experienced that probably would have remembered that or known that. And he did. So we see Jesus arrested for no good cause. And we'll talk more about that tomorrow when we talk about the trials. I hope you have a blessed day. And hope you'll remember the things that Jesus did for us on this Passion Week, the things he went through. He's beginning to have to pay the penalty for our sins. We'll see the things that happened to him, and we'll talk about his arrest tomorrow. Blessings upon you, and I'll talk to you tomorrow.